topic we have today, which is how to manage the stress from quitting smoking.
How sound can help there is it calms everything down so that we get to see things from a different perspective. We don't feel so overwhelmed by our emotions.
There are certain steps they can do to get them from this place to a better place. Is that what you mean by that?
3 slow, deep breaths, whenever
Right.
they're feeling overwhelmed, can
Mhm.
help reset the nervous system.
Hi everyone, this is Eddie here, and today we've got a very special guest. She is the founder and director of Scientific Sound Asia, and she specializes in sound therapy. So, welcome, Elizabeth Huxtable. How are you today?
Thanks, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Topic we have today, which is how to manage the stress from quitting smoking. As you know, I'm the quit smoking specialist. So, we know stress plays a very important part in why people start to smoke and why they have to continue to smoke. And sometimes stress can also be a barrier to quitting smoking because when a person stops smoking, they just feel very stressed because of the cravings and all. And because of that, they find that smoking is the only way to allow them to de-stress, to relieve them of the stress. And that's why they find it so hard to quit smoking. So, what are your comments on this, Elizabeth?
Yeah, I agree that stress is a big connection with smoking. How sound can help there is it calms everything down so that we get to see things from a different perspective. We don't feel so overwhelmed by our emotions. And
Hmm.
so then that it helps us to become more of an observer of ourselves rather than getting too tied up in the drama of how we're feeling. And so it's a great aid to the nervous system because it's helping to put us back into that rest and digest phase so that then when well, the cravings or whatever, we can handle it, we can be more resilient. And so I can see that that's how sound can be a big help for people who are wanting to quit smoking.
Right. So, in other words, the sound can actually help smokers if they feel stressed by listening to certain beats, a certain frequency, certain changes will happen in their body. What happens to the stress then?
Well, our nervous system starts to calm down,
Hmm.
and so the stress just naturally goes away. When we're
Mm.
in the fight and flight,
Hmm.
our blood pressure is higher, our heart is beating faster, we're
Right.
breathing shallow in the upper chest. So when we get switched into that other mode where we start to take more, belly breaths, the heart rate goes down, the blood pressure goes down, and also, the other important thing is when we're in the fight and flight, it's
Hmm.
the back of the brain that's being activated and we're not using reason. And
Right.
so when we're calmed by the sounds, all the blood can flow back into that frontal part of the brain. And that helps us make better decisions. And we can find that the stress often just disappears because when we're just reacting from here, we
Hmm.
often make decisions that create more stress. And so
Right.
if the sound, by resetting that nervous system, it really helps us to reduce our stress levels.
Yes, exactly. Many times when I see clients, like my clients tell me that, hey, Eddie, I really cannot stop smoking. It's so difficult. I have no control over my body because this thing is taking over me. So, in your opinion, Elizabeth, when they feel that happening, sometimes they feel that, oh, they just smoke because they don't have control over their body. Does that make sense to you?
I guess I can understand them feeling that way. And all I can say is that through listening to the sounds and also using their breath,
Hmm.
then it's like it can reset that nervous system response, which is automatic, but we can control it by working backwards, like by working with the breath and in training the body rhythms with the sounds.
when you mention working backwards, it does sound like there are certain steps they can do to get them from this place to a better place. Is that what you mean by that?
Definitely. I often tell my clients 3 slow, deep breaths whenever
Right.
they're feeling overwhelmed can
Mhm.
help reset the nervous system, especially if the out breath is longer than the in breath. So maybe you count 3 counts in, 6 counts out. Just
Mhm.
3 of those slow breaths will already help. And then the sounds can really help entrain those brain waves and get them into the more relaxed state.
Wow, that sounds like a very simple tip. So let me just get it straight. When a person is stressed and they feel that, or they're not able to think, they're not in control. So 3 slow deep breaths, 3 seconds in, and 1, 2, 3, and 6 seconds out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we repeat this 3 times, and
Yeah,
we will see the result. Oh, they're a lot calmer.
yeah, yes,
Right,
yeah,
right. The problem is still there. But because we're a lot calmer, that allows us to make better decisions, to be clearer in our thoughts. Is that the effect of what this do to our body?
yeah. You see, once you're back into that rest and digest
Right,
phase,
right.
and the blood is fully going to come into the frontal part of the brain, that's when we can make much better decisions. And so, when we're really, really stressed, we often just react to things
Yes,
instead of respond to things. And so,
exactly.
once we can get into that, the sound can help reset things so we're back into rest and digest. We start to respond to what's happening, not reacting as if it's something from the past. And so often that's what the fight and flight serves a purpose. It's there
Yes,
as a life-saving thing, a life-threatening emergency,
exactly.
but we don't need it on all the time. And
Yes,
what's happened in modern life is it keeps getting triggered by, like in traffic, someone cuts in front of you and you have to brake suddenly. That sets the fight and flight. Or you get a phone call from your boss and he says you've missed the deadline. Like that sets it off. All these things are setting it off that are not actually life threatening, and
yes.
so but the brain thinks that it is, that the nervous system thinks. So we need a way to help get people back into the rest and digest, which is the natural state that our body should be in most of the time.
What you say is very true because sometimes my clients they have a very good success, but after a while just so happen that they receive a phone call, or maybe there's an unforeseen death or death of a family or a pet or something really bad. Then they feel so stressed and all this stress level comes up again, and they just don't know what to do, and what they just feel all the memories come back, and the body starts getting all these cravings to smoke, and that's where they just go back and they have a relapse. So
Right.
will will sound therapy help them in this case?
It can, because if we say use recording sounds, we can use it exactly when we need it. There are very good recordings that will help to entrain the brainwaves. Particularly, there's something called binaural beats.
Right.
And this is where it only works when you've actually got the headphones on, because
Hmm.
you're hearing one sound through one ear and a slightly detuned sound through the other ear. And what this does is it creates a pulse inside the brain that can be calculated by whoever created the recording is purposefully entraining into a certain brainwave state. So in a very short period of time, when you listen to one of these recordings, your brain will start to be entrained and slow down and get you back into that rest and digest phase. So if you have a recording that works for you, then you can use that any time that that you need to, rather than coming to see a sound therapist in person. I think the part I play is a bit of a long-term aim to get their body functioning, get the meridians flowing, get the organs optimally working through the vibrations of the sound.
Right.
But that's more like building up that resilience. But when there's an emergency happens, then
Mhm.
recorded sound is a really good way to do it. There's lots
Wow.
on YouTube, and
Right.
I've got albums as well, but yeah, other people as well. Yeah.
That sounds really good. Do you have any last words for the people who are trying to quit smoking and they find it so hard to quit because of the stress, the cravings?
Well, I'd just like to encourage them to see whether sound helps their nervous system. Give it a try, even if it's just listening to YouTube binaural beats type recording, and just see whether that affects their nervous system and helps them to calm down. Because really, it does work for most people.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. We really appreciate your time and we've learned so much from you on sound therapy.
Well, I'm just really grateful for the opportunity to share my passion and let more people learn about it. Yeah,
Have a nice evening and I'll see you soon.
thanks.
Okay,
Bye bye.
bye.
Bye.